August the 31st, the last day of August, heading into Labor Day weekend. Interesting. Couple, 3 weeks in the market certainly had a big spike down in August and a big rally back. One of the stronger rallies we've seen in a long time. Shorts were really trapped. As I told you, it was too early to get too short. And unless you were real nimble, you may have gotten hammered. But look, bottom line is, if you trade with stops, you're okay. Here's what happened. The S&P 500, which took a dip on August the 5th down to 5119, made it all the way up to nominal new high on Friday, I believe, at 5651. 5651.62 was the high on the 26th, and 5651.37. So not quite a new high, but there's your resistance, and that's a bull flag. The measure move is phenomenal. I don't think the market makes that kind of a move, but you never know. Bottom line is, you look at the long-term channel top over the last year and a half. If we do make this kind of an angle move up there to there, we're looking at 58.50.75 as a potential target. I would really be careful underneath 55.60, double bottom, the bottom of that trading range. Most certainly a move to at least 55.04 would be next, and if that breaks, you're down to 53.90, 5400. That's the S&P. Here's the NASDAQ 100, not too dissimilar, not quite as strong because while the S&P went lateral, it's pulled back a bit. So you can see that the NASDAQ market, actually the S&P played catch up. So we had the big dip on the NDX, August 5th low, of course, 17,435. And a week and a half ago, we reached 19,938. So 2,500 points. A nice little, what I would call a falling flag, orderly retrace. Looks pretty bullish to me, unless I see a breakdown, of course. What you're going to watch next week is, can we hold 19,220? Beneath that, the next target will be around 18,720. So, but the measure move calls for a move back to the old high, 20,700 range. Long-term top, 21.8 is a possibility if this thing continues to push. We shall see. Right now, this V bottom with a right-handed extension and a flag above the price support gap and 21-day moving average, and a close above the 50 for the first time in 4 or 5 sessions augurs well for a continuation next week. We shall see. Don't forget, heading into Labor Day weekend, the market will usually have a fairly good close, and then we'll see what happens. Could be interesting, but there's going to be resistance on the NDX, certainly at 19,938. So those look pretty good. What about the IWM? Certainly in the small caps, really played catch up in the last 3 weeks. Take a look at this. We spiked down August 5th like everything else did. It got down to 196.70. And earlier this week, we reached 222.45. That's about 28 points, about 11-12%. Just in a couple, 3 weeks for the NASDAQ, for the small cap index IWM ETF, exchange traded fund. Resistance is 225.28. The target is 233.4. And your support right now is about 216 and 211. Transportation, also a nice comeback, running from 14.8 to over 16,000. There are multiple tops, 4 or 5 of them, up around 16.3, 16.3, 30, 40. That's the area where you'll have a lot of resistance, but if we break through that, it could be monumental for the market. Look at the long-term chart. You'll see a breakthrough here is multiple. I mean, we're talking a year-long resistance that, if broken, could lead to the all-time high test of this area up around 18,000. That would be a very strong move for the transportation index. Okay, so looks like they're in a much more bullish configuration than they were certainly a week or two ago. And right now, we'll see if we can get the resistance on the various indexes. Underlying technicals, well, let's look at the oscillator. It looks like the McClellan oscillator has been oversold. First overbought, then oversold, then looks slightly overbought, and then a pullback. Right now at plus 65, it's what I call bullish neutral, meaning it's above the 0 line. So it's not oversold, but it's certainly nowhere overbought. It would have to get up to at least 150, 200 zone to get there. The percentage of stocks above the 40 and participating in this market are about 65%. And again, above the zero line, oh, sorry, that's not correct. There we go. 62%, very similar. So 5 out of 8 stocks are above their 40. Not as good as you'd like, but nevertheless, and we're not overbought, but we're getting up in that range of 75, 80, where we've seen the market give you overbought signals. What about the VIX? After that explosive spike and drop, look at this. You rarely see this kind of a spike up and pull back. And now it's at the lowest level in a month at 15. Doesn't get into danger territory until it gets down to at least between 9 and 11. So we have room on that too. So the market still has room to run if it wants to. We'll just have to see what happens. Now look at the major components, what they're up to. Here's Apple. After a big run in April, May, June, we had that steep pullback. The August 5th low, of course, so Apple down to 196. Thursday's high, 232. So 37 point, about 16, 17% run in Apple, and right back up near the all-time high. Did pull back on Friday, though, one of the few big boys that didn't really confirm the market. Amazon, big day for that one. Jumping 641, almost 4%, but more importantly, it came up to the declining tops and it closed right there, maybe slightly above it. I like the look of this, but Amazon goes nowhere until it gets to key resistance now. At 182, 2.5, the 50-day moving average is 182.5. So that is, you get above that, we're looking at 190, 92 or better. So Amazon very bullish, at least it looks like it could be, unless it drops dead right here. Google forming a large, perhaps wedge. If you take a look at the pattern, declining tops line, rising bottoms. Now this V bottom here, let's look at an hourly on Google. V bottom, platform breakout, but the declining tops line pushed it back. Now if it gets up to 170, that's a big number. That's where I think Google can accelerate to 178 and 183. But for now, if it fails here and rolls over, particularly if it takes out Thursday's low under 162, I think there's a problem with Google, and maybe that could affect the market. We'll see. Microsoft, similar V bottom, and now a big wedge pattern, which calls for a move. Two resistance levels to keep aware of on Microsoft is 426-ish and 430 in that area. But above 431.5, you're good to go into the 448 area for Microsoft. But we'll just have to see whether the other possibility is a massive year-and-a-half long left shoulder head and maybe a right shoulder complex. We'll see. I think the key for this one is do not let this thing go under 385. That would be trouble for Microsoft long term. But the V bottom and right hand extension augurs well for more upside. Two out of 3 times this will extend, probably up in the 435.40 range. NVIDIA, obviously the monster midweight. This did not have a great week. A lot of pressure on the stock. It barely bounced Friday. It was up $1.65 or 1.4%. Not what you want to see. And if NVIDIA drops under 116.5, it could cascade down towards 108.10 range or lower. This is a platform it needs to hold right there. And you can see that it wasn't a downtrend. I'm going to take that out now. That no longer is valid. It's more of a long-term uptrend with a pullback to the long-term uptrend line, which caused that bounce. But what's it going to do now? Well, take out the highs of the last week or two above 130. I think it could propel this to retest the all-time high at 140 plus, and maybe go to 155, 65 up there. That would be a big boost to the market, obviously. Tesla, very much a V as well. A wedge, I should say, not a V. And it's near the apex. We take out all this noise. You'll see a V bottom and a right hand extension. Key would be taking out 228 with energy. The stock could rip. but it would have to test 232 and fill that gap to about 245. We shall see. Nevertheless, interesting pattern developing on a couple of the NASDAQ generals. Netflix, very similar to a couple of the other stocks with a big run up in the flag. Next target 747. Netflix is acting great. So that is a big. I just want to look at a couple others. AMD, the bottom right hand extension pullback from resistance, also forming a wedge. You do not want this one under here, under 144 thereabout. Let's see if it holds it. If it goes up, 164 is your target. And Intuitive Surgical, it's not going to talk about much, but boy, what a great looking chart. Look at this. It's only gone from the 22 low near mid 180s to almost 500. 494 and holding. And Friday closed at 492.70, up 5 points, coming out of a platform. This reads like it's a $555 stock. Probably due for a split soon. Pretty, and it is. And that's like 100 components. There's a lot of others, but I wanted to show you AMD and ISRG. Two I don't show it too often. So that covers the NASDAQ 100 components. Let's look at some of the major ETFs and groups that we follow. The semiconductors, for example, nice recovery. And the SMH got all the way down to 200, and a week and a half ago reached 253, but it reached right at not only this gap, but the 50-day moving average and backed off. So right now, a potential platform, which is bullish if it doesn't break, of course. I need this to hold 235. It's 243 right now. I also need it to take out 253 and run up to 265 and 80. Those are your next targets if this thing's going to go. SMH, one of the leading groups on Wall Street. What a really good move, anticipating interest rating decreases. The financials ripping it. Now, this is not quite an all-time high. If you go back to 21, you'll see that we reached way up here at 155, almost 156. So we got a lot of room to run potentially, but this is a massive move on financials off the low because they spiked down on August 5th to 95, and here it is at 134 nearly. We're talking about almost 40 points, or about 30, 38, 35%, something like that, just in the last 3 weeks on the financial group. So FAS smoking it and through lots of resistance. Overbought perhaps, but momentum extraordinaire. What about biotechs? XBI right at resistance and flagging. We get a move up through 103, and this thing's going to 108, 110 range and taking the market with it. That's XBI. What about LABU? We follow those two biotech ETFs. And similar, but a little different, a little weaker in that it's not quite at the high yet. So there's resistance at 152. But if it breaks that, my target would be 172. And right now, this looks like it's forming some sort of week and a half long flag. So between the semiconductors and the biotechs, they're flagging bullishly. But financials leading the way, smoking it up now for 7 days in a row and 12 out of 14. So pretty darn strong move. Not only that, but 16 out of 18 days, this index has been up. Other ETFs that are worthwhile, of course, is oil. US oil having a tough time of it, as oil backed off pretty sharply, particularly on Friday. I've been under the impression that despite that move up and this move up, no resistance was broken, neither was a declining tops line. So I'm concerned about that. And now I'm looking strongly at SCO. Take a look at whether or not this can get up through 1890. You get up through 1885 or so, this thing could be 21, 22. And DRIP is the other. Something to watch. DRIP, not quite the same pattern. So I like SCO. I'd be cautious on USO and UCO. Both looking the same. Matter of fact, UCO looks even worse instead of this thing downtrend. And you can see that if it goes down further, we're looking at 25. Gold, Obviously another story. Look at this chart on the GDX. Pretty powerful look. But long term, there's some massive resistance on the GDX. Around 41, 3/4, 42. Actually 41. So maybe a little room to run up there. But once you get up there, 41, this is going to be in dangerous territory and multiple waves up. I don't know at some point whether this blows off or needs to have a bigger retracement. Looking at Nugget and JNUG, very similar. I like between those two, I like the Nugget better. Those are the larger cap gold miners. The smaller caps are trailing a little bit. Silver is not keeping pace, even though it did bounce. The HEQ is down 3.4% on Friday. That's the ETF for silver. SLV kind of similar. I'm not high on silver until I see a spike breakout. I'd rather go with gold, and in particular, if I'm trading an ETF, it's either GDX or Nugget. There's a lot of individual gold stocks we can cover a little later. I'll show you some of them then. That covers gold, silver, oil. We didn't cover gas, but take a look at oil, how depressed this is. I'm not in favor of being long the KOLD either. I just think that it's extended and it's at resistance. Doesn't mean it can't break through and blow. If it does, 110.15 zone or more might be had, but first KOLD's got to get up through 85, and if it does, it's Katie bar the door, and oil will probably be slam dunked. Let's move on to stocks. We have a lot to cover, long and short. We'll start off with Aaoi, a stock a lot of us have traded, and we did great swings on it there and there. It broke out and pulled back, and now this is a distinct breakout through the declining tops line, but it hasn't broken key lateral resistance. Your targets on this one going forward are 12 and 13, and through 13 is where I think you could see 17 and 20, but for now, it's in motion. Volume is just okay. I like the trend, but I'm not jumping up and down. American Building Maintenance. Today I'm going to show you a lot of very bullish long-term trends. ABM is large multi-year base. And then look at this run since February. 40 to 57. It looks better than that. The long-term channel says now that it's broken out, we're looking at 62 and 68. In the biotech group, ABUS has had a wonderful move since the October low when it was trading at $1.69, and it's more than doubled to $3.98. And right now, it's got a really strong looking rising channel and forming a wedge, which tells me it breaks out. It's headed to 4 3/4. ADMA, what a wonderful chart this is, from the October low, literally at $3. It's gone up sixfold to reach 1842. And now it's forming a flag. Does that look done to you? No. Next target, 2021. AEM. Now this is the first of the large cap golds. Beautiful long-term chart. There's a beautiful base. There's your breakout, flag, wedge, ascending wedge, and a little mini flag. My target, 88 and 100 for AEO, Agnico Eagle. AFRM. Well, it was a beauty here. It got slam dunked hard from the low 50s to the low 20s. There's your breakaway gap, and it's been doing great the last couple of days, in particular as it breaks out over key resistance with a massive gap and volume of 54 million shares a day it broke out. Had a nice follow-through day Friday on 30 million, up another 5.5%. So I'm thinking at this point, momentum carries it to 49.50. AGI is yet another gold. It's more of a junior gold, but it's got a great chart. From the base down in the 6, 7, 8 range, it's made it up to 20. His stock has tripled. For a gold stock, is one of the better performers percentage-wise, getting to 2024 now pulling back. Ultimate targets would be 22.3, where there's a lot of overhead resistance. Actually, just above here would be all-time high. So this is one of the better looking gold stocks. AGI, that's Alamos Gold. AMRX in the pharmaceutical group has gone from the April low of last year, 124, to Friday's high of 894. This is a 7-8 fold increase. So Where can it go? Well, the rising channel angle, if it continues, we're looking at 10.5, 11. AORT, beautiful stock in the medical device group. Breakaway gap, a long consolidation. Breakout, another consolidation, and another breakout, and a coil. I run up to the target, and then I pull back to the channel and hold, and now my target's 32.3. Apps, inverse head and shoulder, breakaway gap, a sharp run up to my target, and now the pullback, I think this is a 1, 2, and 3 gets me up to 6, 7. It could be a great buy down here with a tight stop. ASPN, beautiful long-term chart, multiple waves up, a pretty big hit when most stocks got hit in August, only to jump, snap back from 1678 within a week or two to 33. This is a double in 2-3 weeks, now flagging, and that's a bull flag. If it holds it right here, your targets will be retest the high at 33, and go to high 30s, low 40s. ASTS, what a nice chart, and a tech trader swing. It broke out, it flagged, it popped, it flagged again, it just kept running. Rising flag, falling flag, next target, 52. It's only 29. This is a great looking chart. AU, one of my favorite long-term goals in larger caps. Breakout, rising channel, flag, pullback, retest. This is what we call an island reversal and the beauty. And look at the run-up after the island reversal to the top of the channel. And now back to support. Next target, 34. BBY, massive breakaway gap on Thursday out of a big base. This can support a big move. My targets are 112 and 125. BCRX, long downtrend, V bottom, breakout, wedge, run up, wedge, and pop. It's near resistance. My next target is 11.5. BYU, something I just added. Thank you, Ann, for the idea. You can see that the spike out of a line pattern, which is one of the rarities you see. When a stock is completely quiet and goes sideways and suddenly erupts and the volume increases, pay attention. This one in particular went 115 to 638. That's fivefold nearly in 2 weeks. Is it done? Well, I can see it getting up to about 10, so it may not be done. Keep an eye on this one for momentum, but it's overbought. You could use a consolidation or flag. CDNA tech trader swing. I love this inverse head and shoulder breakaway gap. We put a swing on it. Coil, pop, flag, pop, rising wedge, pop, and another flag. Boy, this one does not look done. If we get a good market and the environment is strong enough, this flag breaks out, it goes to 42, 48, and above. One of the blue chip we've been talking about for 2, 3, 4 weeks now of solid rising channels. Colgate Palmolive is one of them. October's low, 67, 62. Currently near 107. My target, 120. CLBT, beautiful rising channel coming out of a base with inverse head and shoulder. This is run from under 4 to over 17, more than fourfold. And although it's overbought, strong Momo, new all-time highs. It could use a little pullback consolidation, but I think it makes it up to 1920. CLPT broke out. We put a swing on it. This stock has really good potential for more upside, and it just broke through a double top and keeps running. My target, 17. Cogent Biosciences breaks out, flags, and popped on Friday. This is a key technical breakout for me. I'm now looking for a move. Gets us to 13, folks. There's 3, 4 tops up there. Core had a big dip when the tech stocks did, but boy, they recovered. And now flagging near resistance. We get up through here. Above 81, the stock could be 88.90. Credo, beautiful long-term chart, breaking out of a base. Got up to the channel top and pulled back to test support, and then what a recovery. Another one of those tech stocks recovering beautifully. This one takes out Friday's high, which is now 30, near 37.5. You can see low 40s. CRNT, one of my longer-term low price cap plays, had a pretty nasty pullback in the mid part of the year, and a wonderful recovery, taking it from 235 to 308. about 40% recovery. Now I'm looking for 340 and 4.25. That's the Tech Trader's old swing. CRNX, look at this base. Beautiful breakaway gap, consolidation, breakout. And from that point, it goes from 30 to 55. I don't think it's done yet. Mid-channel target 60. Upper channel target 75. Criteo with a breakaway gap and a little wedge there. This is the Tech Trader swing. What a move. It went from 30 to 50. Almost 49.66. My target is 55. CVLT, I don't talk about this too much, but what a chart. I wanted to show it to you. A little bit higher price stock went from 63 to 158. And on Friday, I had a breakout day. So this looks like it's headed to 168, 170. Carvana, well, it's just been a monster. In less than 2 years, this has gone from 3 and change to 150. Amazing move. And yet, I don't see any breakdown. Target 185. CWAN breaks out of a base, breakaway gap, spikes up and flags, and extends. Target 26.5, 7. Delcath with a 1, 2, 3, 4 breaking out of wave 5, target 14. Great chart. Dell. Now Dell really had to break down the tech stocks, but what, again, another V-bottom platform recovery. It broke out on Friday. If you can get through that declining moving average of 50 above 120, I think you're going to make it to 128.30 for starters. Dole, this food company broke out of a base here and just kept running. It's got a really nice long-term chart. I don't know how much further they can take it, but I will say I'm expecting, if it breaks through here, for it to be an $18 stock. The DRS, it is aerospace stock doing great. And you can see how the rising channel called for more upside. The V bottom with a platform like many others. Now looking for 31.2 as a target. Dyne Therapeutics, a beautiful long-term chart. V bottom, breakout, wedge, pop. That was a buy signal right there for me at 18. It made it to 46. The long-term chart is impeccable. I am not going to be shocked if this stock makes a move all the way up into the 80 range at some point. Mid-channel target is 60. Junior Gold EGO, that's Eldorado's, and it's a really good chart. Obviously gone from 5.5 to 9 to 18. It's more than threefold, tripled. The long-term chart says this could be in the low 20s. ERJ, the South American aircraft manufacturer, rising channel, looks like a $42 to $45 stock. FEIM, Tech Trader swing, popped and pulled back. We put a swing on it. It held support. It ran up. It had an engulfing bullish day on Friday. I'm looking for 17 and 19. Fluorcorp, what a beautiful long-term chart. V bottom, right hand of the extension, then a long rising channel, which tells me it goes to 56. FLS is another. V bottom, long-term rising channel. 55 is my target. FTAI, monster. Look at this move. In December of 22, nearly 2 years ago, it was 14 and change. It's now 129, folks, and still running. My projection is for a move up to 145.50. FTI, beautiful long-term chart, breaking out of a base, rising channel, multiple waves. This pullback is a little dangerous, and I'll show you why. When you come down hard off a high and form this kind of a pattern, if it doesn't break out and starts to roll over, this could be a good short. So keep an eye on this one for a long if it breaks out, a short if it breaks down. GCI, nice base, breakaway spike with volume and a rising channel. It pulled back with the tech stocks. It rallied back and broke out, and now it's pulling back to test. Target 7. GDS breaks out of a base, forms a flag, pops up sharply, reaches through the target and the top of the channel. Now I'm going to change the angle to look like this. Still, it's a beauty, but it may need some consolidation. My eventual target, 2021. GVA in the construction group breaks out here, retests. Channel's up. It's at my target and long-term resistance. Take a look at this. If this gets through this high, massive multi-year triple top, this could be a $100 stock. Guidewire has only gone from 53 to 155, tripled, and yet it doesn't look like it's done, not target 166. Halozyme breaks out of a base, spikes. You always got to watch these breakaway gaps, folks. That's the first pullback, usually a good buy. Look what it did there. Pulls back to 47.8, and runs into the mid 60s, 65. My target is 80. HMY Harmony is another gold silver miner with V bottom in 22 at around the 2 range, and it's now gone up to more than 5-fold. The longer term target now 16, 18. HROW, what a nice tech trader swing this turned out to be. It's had a breakaway gap and a flag. We put a swing on it. It went from 15 to 45 and tripled. It's at all my targets. I don't know how much further it goes. It's extended short term. HWM Helmet Aerospace has gone from 31 to 97 and tripled. In particular, the last year, you can see the run has taken it from 45 to 97. The angle of ascent says it may not be done. And I'm now looking for about 108.10. Innodata, INOD, breakaway gap, and rising a little wedge here. We put a swing on it. It ran up, pulled back. It's wedging again. Obviously, long-term rising channel top. If it accelerates through it, you could see a stock that could double from here. Now, Iovance, wonderful recovery, long downtrend, or should I say, multi-month downtrend. Broke out with a breakaway there. We put a swing back on it, and it ran up and now pulled back. I like to look at this. I think it's going to 13 and 15. Coca-Cola is one of those blue chip stocks, along with Colgate, Philip Morris, and Unilever, etc., that look like this. Blue chips, where some money's been parked by institutions. If it gets a pullback towards mid-channel 70, I would then look for 76.7. LITE broke out. We put a swing on it. It just kept going. It's got a beautiful bull wedge. If this gets to 61, look out. Targeting 68 and 74, if that occurs. Pollo Loco, one of my favorite chicken places, personally, but whatever. And not that that matters. Stock-wise, it broke out. But when it popped off the low and formed a wedge, that's where I liked it, around 10. Didn't issue it because it hadn't broken through. Now it has. This stock may very well make it back towards the 18, 19, 21 range. LRN, beautiful long-term rising channel. Take a look at the weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a pullback. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will it get another pullback or will it extend? Fantastic long-term chart. Maybe headed for 100, 120. Laird Superfoods, after a big drop, based out and spiked up. Falling wedge, pennant, another falling wedge. If it holds, if it breaks out, I need this one above 470. Then my target's 6.5 and 9. LUMN went ballistic in July from 105, I kid you not, to 783. It went up 7-fold in a month, came down hard, bounced, and is coiling. Now this little 3-day pattern looks like a potential bear flag. I'll show you the hourly chart. What I'd be looking for in this one, and I wouldn't commit to it until I see that, is a price volume surge up and through 5.5 with energy. Then maybe you're on your way back to 6 and 7 and more. Longer term, $10 is my target. Lunar explodes, pulls back and retests the breakout point, runs up and double tops and pulls back. A little bit risky in here. This is the hourly chart. That's what it looks like on the daily. Pop, pullback, retest. Another pop, but a massive pullback intraday on Friday has me concerned. If it gets up above 620.25, I'd be much more bullish on it for a move to 7 3/4, 9, and 12. Folks, I got to say one thing. The stealth group of Wall Street, does anyone know what it is? It's insurance. Mercury, and I can show you 4 other examples or 5 other examples of stocks that have done this. You may remember Root. Remember that? Remember this move? This is another insurance and property casualty. This one only went from 7 to 86. And at one point, I believe it was 97 at pre-market. I'm not recommending that one now, but look at MCY. No reason to say this can't go higher. My target is just about where it is. We get through that, we're looking at 80. 3M is another one of those blue chip stocks that was a tech trader swing when it broke out here. I gave it to you in May. It was trading around 90, 95. Went to 134 and closed at multi-year highs. My target now going forward is 140 and 55. Another major gold I like is Newmont. Look at that rising channel. No pullback. None. This is the leader. There is some resistance at 56, my next target. Then I'm looking for 62. Neon, beautiful base and a breakout and big momentum spike up. Perhaps we get this to the 8.5 range. That's my next target. NNE, massive explosive move and then a big pullback. It popped out and now it's wedging. We have a tech trader swing on it. Don't let it get underneath around 9.5. Should it get above the week's high of 11.5? And then look for 14 and 17. NRIX, look at this beauty. We bottomed in the 4.25 range and it's gone up sixfold, nearly. It doesn't look done to me. I think you're going to see 30 and 37. The Nutanix, one of my favorites, broke down pretty hard in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move, and then ran up and exploded on earnings on Thursday. Followed through a little bit on Friday, but I like this stock if it gets up through that range to go back to 72 and then maybe 80 and maybe a takeout. Natera, breakaway gap. We put a swing on it in the 80s. It made it up to 124.5. It's pulled back a little bit here. But it's right near support and the bull flag. I like to look at this. I don't think it's done. My target is 140. ONON is also a tech trader swing. Broke out. Back and filled and broke out again. Initial target 52. Secondary target 59.60. PAYO pop. We put a swing on it. Just kept going from the rising flag. And now trading at 7.5. I had an $8 target on it. Should we get through that? We're looking at 9.5, 10. Pitney Bowes, PBI, breaks out of a base, forms a 3-wave corrective flag, and then pops. Retested, popped again, and now it's forming a little wedge. 8.25 and 9.75 are your targets. Palantir's been in a phenomenal uptrend since it broke out. This was a tech trader swing in the high single digits. It's made it into the low 30s. And quite frankly, this pullback looks bullish to me. I don't think it's done yet. My target's 36.7. Philip Morris is another one of those blue chip, as I said, along with Unilever and Colgate that we've showed you today. This is a phenomenal chart. Don't know how far they take this, but 129 is my target. PaySafe, stair-stepping move up, nice chart. Extension target 25. PSN, Parsons, another beautiful long-term chart and running. Accelerated target 1034. Red Cat breaks out of a base, runs up to resistance, backs off and breaks through. My target is 4.25 and 5. Radian, and there's another one of those insurance companies. Look at this chart. Does it look done to you? $40 target. REVG breaks out and runs up. This is a stock I had on my focus list so many times. Boy, what a great looking chart. At my target of 31.2, next target is 37.8. Rivian broke out. We put a swing on it and made it to target number 1 and then pulled back. Can it go again? Well, it popped and flagged. I got to get this over last week's high. Above 14.75, I would look for a test of 15.35, and then you're on your way to 17 to 20. RNA, one of our better swings this year, broke out. We put a swing on it. It literally has gone from under 7 into the mid 40s, high 40s, 48.29, and now a bull coil is forming. Breaks out of here, 55 and 70 are targets. Roivant finally breaks out of a 7 or 8 month base with a pop on Thursday and a follow through Friday. Initial target 13.5, and then looking at high teens. And another insurance stock, Ryan, look at this, with a bull flag. Target 70, maybe 73. Resolute, beautiful rising channel out of a base, small base, and now a coil. It appears the coil popped. 6 and 8 are targets. How about Sprouts Family Markets? What a chart. 2 years ago, you could have bought this at 22. It's now 104, fivefold. Does it look done? 115 target. It does not. SLQT breaks out, wedges, pops, wedges again, and breaks out of that. If it gets to 4.5, you're looking at 6, 6.5. SMMT spiked up and pulled back and coiled and started a rising channel. My target is 16. SMTC, beautiful long-term chart. Key breakout occurred Friday. This may make it into the high 50s. SOI was a tech trader swing when it broke out. It pulled back and now it's bouncing again. I'm looking for 13.5, 15, and 17. SPRY broke out here. That's a swing. It ran from 12 and change into the 16 and change and pulled back on a three-way falling wedge. I still like it. Retest 16.5 and go to 20. Those are your targets. SRTS and a nice recovery from that big debacle in 22 and 3. This one has recovered from a spike low down at 179 and it's made it up to over 7. Currently at 6.55. It looks like your targets are 7.75, 8, and 9.75, 10. TEMAI. Now this one came out, but came down, bounced, wedged, and exploded. Now in a falling wedge. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. If there's a fifth wave, this just might retest the highs at 77 and make it to 90 or 100. Teva, nice rising channel. After a long base, this can make it to 20 and 24. TKNO exploded in the last month and a half from 120 to 5 and change. My target 6.5 if it trends. Track, look at this chart. Breaks out of a base, pops in coils, pops in flags, targeting mid-20s. Trupanion, yet another insurance company. This one, Pet Insurance, breaking out of a base, about to run, it looks like. 68 and 75 6 targets. And there's the other blue chip we talked about. That is Unilever UL. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave underway. Don't know how far they take this one, but you can see it's above key resistance to new all-time highs. Sky's the limit, folks. 67.8 target. ULS, recent IPO, gone from 33.4 to 54.5. My target's 59.60. Upstart breaks out of a base with a breakaway gap and is in a rising channel. Once it tests and takes out 51, it may go to 60. VERX in a beautiful long-term rising channel, making higher highs and higher lows, targeting mid-40s. VRAX, one of those vaccine stocks, exploded with a big gap, pulled back and bounced a couple times. It's forming a big wedge. Can it break out again? If it does, you have to test and take out $9, and then you're looking at 14 to 16. BRNA, beautiful rising channel with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and now a bull flag. Don't think it's done. I really don't, even though it's got 5 flags. It's less reliable, but I think we're going to 33 and then 37. Baronis. Well, VRNS has been on my list for a long time. You can see why. Now that it's broken through a double top, pulled back and bounced, I'm targeting mid-60s and low 70s. Visto, beautiful long-term rising channel. The target now is 44. WGS Tech Trader swing of late. I think it was back here. I don't remember exactly when, but put a swing on it. I think it was in the low teens, like 12, 13. And it made it into the 37.5 range. It's consolidating that for a bit. Angle of Ascent says this could be a $50 stock at some point. Breakaway gap, rising channel, target 36. Broke out of the base and out of long-term downtrend. There is a double top resistance there. So let's call the next target 35. And finally, Zeta. We had a beautiful chart. We put a swing on it at the right time. It broke out there around the 11 range and is more than 150% higher, tagging 27.47 on Friday. Extension target is 30.31. Let's go over some shorts and wrap it up for today. BPMC. Now, folks, if this market blows, a lot of these stocks are going to spike up. So on short covering, but it does have a break of a big trend and a beautiful bear coil. Simple as that. Should it get up through 96, I would cover, and that's pretty tight because it's right near the high of this pattern. But if it starts to roll over, especially if you see it take out 92, you should look for 84.5 and maybe even 73.5. BRBR. Big top, breakdown, rising wedge to resistance. I would not anticipate this. It would wait for a break of, this has got to break 54. And if it does that, it targets at 51 and 48.5. CMG, after a 10-for-1 split, got hammered. It's trying to rally back. If it fails here, and that's what if. This is a big wedge. It's either massive 1-2, we're going to go down to 3, in which case you'll see high 40s, low 40s, or it breaks out and you cover. This is critical time for a lot of these stocks. Disney, for example, the tech trader swing short here at 106. Folks, it made it down to 83.90, and it bounced. Obviously, anything above there would be a cover over 94. But if it continues, it could be an $80 stock. Copper stock, Freeport McMoran broke its head and shoulder top, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and that formed the bear wedge. So I put a swing on it. It did go from 45 to 39 and bounced back near resistance. So this is critical because it's a commodity metal stock. You do not want this one over 46.5. That's my cover. But if it rolls over, I would look for 42, 38.5, and 36. Form factor, rolled over hard, got crushed, rallied back to resistance, rolled over again Friday. Closed mid-range. If it goes underneath Friday's low 46.34, I would look for a move back to 43 and 38. But this is not my ideal short. HUB, look at this one. Head and shoulder top, breakdown, and a rising wedge. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1, this is 2. Wave 3 gets me down to 415, and then it bounces and goes to 370. That's my take. Currently near 500. INFA breaks the top, rising bear, a bear flag, another bear flag. That's a 1, 2. This is 3, 4. If we get a fifth wave down, I'm looking for 19.5, 20. INMD has been in a downtrend forever. Has dropped from the mid-80s down to the mid-teens. And I wouldn't advocate shorting it here necessarily, but if you're short, maintain your short. Be careful, it's a falling wedge, you could snap out of it. JBL, this looks like a head and shoulder type top. It broke down and snapped back to resistance. If it fails and rolls over, looking for 96, 87, mid-70s. PACCAR broke. It looked like it broke here, bear flag, and spiked up, I think, on earnings, but it got crushed. Now a bear flag is forming. Let's assume this is an outlier and that the stock is going lower. And if it is, 87 and 81 targets. Qualcomm, it's a dangerous short because it's in a great group, semiconductors. If the market goes up, all you got to do is cover above this range. So Thursday's high, 176.36, and we're right there, would be a place where I would cover if I'm short. But if I want to go short, I want to wait for under 168 so that it comes down to 157 and 140. Schwab broke its top, rallied back, forming a big bear coil. Even though financial stocks look good, this one does not. I don't know why, but let the technicals tell you what to do. If it breaks out, you cover. If it breaks down, you go short. I think this one could be a $56, $7 stock. SIG, I hate this company and I love this chart for a short. It has rallied back to resistance and reversed on Friday. I still like this for a move down. Friday's high of 88 would be a cover area above 88. My targets are 77, 78, 73, and 67, 68. WDC, it broke its pattern, bear flag, and then it got crushed. Bounced to resistance from the right-handed extended V. This one's too bullish to go short, unless it rolls over and takes out 61, in which case your targets are 56 and 51. WFRD I just put on this weekend. Here's a trend break. I want to show you something. Looks like a long-term uptrend. Right there. Was broken. It rallied back from the wedge and rolled over. As a matter of fact, a bearish engulfing day on Friday has me thinking this stock could collapse. And if it does, 85 is my target. Williams Sonoma, dangerous, but it looks like it could be a rollover top. I would wait to see if it takes out 128. Then your targets are like 120 and 110. And finally, Yelp does not look good. It's been in a downtrend for a year and a half. It still looks like it could go lower. That's a bear wedge. You can cover over 36. The target's 31 and 28. And folks, that's it. A long look at the indices, the underlying technicals, the major ETFs that we follow, a list of more than 100 longs and about 30 shorts, something like that. Anyway, this is HB Allen. Have a great rest of your 3-day weekend. I'll see you Tuesday. Enjoy. Bye now.